This video will cover Pennsylvania school bus stop arm and driver safety laws. The first few laws we'll be looking at is Title 75 3345. That is the law covering illegally passing a stop school bus. Title 75 3345.1. That is Pennsylvania's school bus stop arm camera enforcement law. We'll go over Section 2 in the Pennsylvania CDL, or Commercial Driver's License. And we will cover Pennsylvania's School Bus Driver's Manual, or Publication 117. We'll look at Unit C, it'll be page C-5, Loading Procedures, and then Unit F, or page F-32, which is on stopping. And finally, we'll cover Pennsylvania Driver's Manual, Chapter 3, page 58, on braking. All right, this is Pennsylvania law, Title 75, Section 3345, meeting or overtaking school bus. Full disclosure, I'm not a lawyer, but these are some things that stood out that I think every driver in your state needs to know. First part is that when there is a school bus stopped on the side of the road or highway or traffic way with their red signal lights on and flashing and the stop arms are activated, that the driver needs to come to a stop, but also they shall stop at least 10 feet from the bus. There's a safety video out that shows a 10-foot buffer around a bus. That's considered the danger area. They're trying to make sure you don't come into that danger area. So when you stop for a school bus, try to be, if you're on the approach or from the side, try to be 10 feet off from the bumper or the side of the bus. If you're coming from the rear, try to give it a 10-foot buffer between you and the back of the bus. All right. You also should remain stopped until the red flashing signal lights are no longer actuated or going, and you should stay stopped until all the children have basically reached a place of safety. One state, like Virginia, says you cannot move until they word things in their law a little differently. They'll say that you have to remain stopped until the bus is put into motion. But for Pennsylvania, red lights off, and all the children are at a safe place, or a place of safety. 8.1 reports by the bus operators. That's basically what a bus driver is looking for when they're citing you, which is different than when the stop arm cites you. Going down to V, when the bus is equipped with a side stop signal arm enforcement system under Section 3345.1, which we'll cover next. That's a different process than the bus driver reporting you. And then they have 48 hours to notify the law enforcement. Okay, scrolling down a little more. Okay, and this is just basically the duty of the driver. If you're in a car approaching a bus, the driver of a vehicle meeting or overtaking any school bus, you shall proceed past the school bus with caution and shall be prepared to stop when the amber signal lights are flashing. So they want you to slow down when the amber lights are going, but we're going to run into a few issues with that with reactionary and perception times. Okay, moving down a little further. C, use of red signals. The red signals have to be utilized when the bus is picking up or dropping off children from school. Letter D is important, use of amber light signals. That means that in the state of Pennsylvania, a bus is to give you 150 feet to 300 feet, but not more than 300 feet of amber light notice. Keep those numbers in mind when we start getting into reactionary or perception reactionary times. Limitations, the red dots will all come together. We'll do those after I go through the rest of this. Basically, operations for non-school purposes, they need to cover up school bus markings. Letter G, This gets into the divided highway. I will try to put up the safety picture in Pennsylvania right after this one. I found it in the school bus manual, so we'll just kind of slide that in after this so you can see what I'm talking about. But every state has a different definition. A lot of states have different definitions for what a divided highway is. So I'll just use their own material to clarify that. But I do know out west there's a few states where they consider a divided highway. It could be a 5-lane road, but as long as there is a set of double solid lines with a horizontal slash between, that is defined as a divided highway, I was told, in California. And then the penalty is the big one. A person who violates subsection A or F.1 commits a summary offense and shall, upon conviction, be sentenced to pay a fine of $250 and a surcharge of $35. The surcharge goes to the school bus safety grant program account. That's important in Title 75, Section 3345.1. All right, red dots now. Limitations on the use of signal. Basically, if there's somebody designated in a police officer's uniform or appropriate attire with basic, the appropriate attire persons authorized to direct, control, or regulate traffic. Or, and this is the big one, in school bus loading areas designated by the department or local authorities when the bus is entirely off the road. So what that means, if there is a loading zone that's off the road and has been designated by local authorities or the department, there is a limited use of signals, meaning they shall not be actuated. I don't want anybody getting a ticket because a bus is in one of these off-the-road stops with no lights on, and a private vendor might be citing people because they see them passing the bus. Going down to H, loading zones for school children. This basically states that every loading zone should be established. So there should be a list of where all these stops are in your community. And the mandatory use of the loading zone. That is unlawful for a school bus operator to stop the bus to pick up or discharge children at any location other than that of the loading zone. So your school district is putting out where these zones are. That needs to be communicated to the public. And if that loading zone is off the road, but there's no lights running, hopefully nobody's getting an automated ticket for that. Okay.